Hey, yeah, what's up? This disciple Marshall Occurrence reign back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-America all day. So this video is going to be about Eminem, the rapper Eminem, and Mack Maine, which is a rapper from Young Money. Mack Maine. So Eminem and Mack Maine uh, sexualizing Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus, which is her real name. So this is a video about Eminem and Mack Maine from Young Money sexualizing Hannah Montana or slash Miley Cyrus. So in my last video, I want to correct something. I was as far as where the Eminem video is, it's not on Wide Awake, although Wide Awake shows uh, graphic sexual brutality towards women. Um, you got to remember, some people take these lyrics seriously. You may not never do these things, but there are some people who are obsessed with Eminem and all these other rappers, and they'll go do these things to women. You know what I mean? And so you got to keep that in mind. We got to be responsible for what we put out there. So but the song is 3 a.m. by Eminem. It's called 3 a.m. And this is the song where he talks about Hannah Montana. You can I think it's the second verse. So you can go to the second verse. It's basically at the top of the second verse. So this is 3 a.m. Yeah, it's the second verse. So but on the song, he talks about masturbating. He flips. He says it's almost noon. He's flipping through the tube to try to find some boobs. Then he finds Hannah Montana, and he reaches for the aloe and aloe and lanolin, right? Aloe vera and lanolin, right? Which is lotion, and he masturbates to Hannah Montana. Now, see, the Relapse album was, as far as Eminem fans in the community, everyone got that album, even if they might have didn't like it, but it being Eminem and I don't know if I think it was a big gap between the times where he put out an album. If I don't know, but I don't know, I hadn't heard anything from him for a long time, and so I got the album. And that line always stuck in my head. You know what I'm saying? And I never embraced that. I never embraced that perspective on it. I never found it to be funny or anything. I didn't find it to be entertaining. I just listened to it every time it went through my head. I just let it listen to it. And I think that's the case with many people. But the war has been set off, man. And when Americans try to hold one person popular, they try to assassinate the character of a person. Then we got to show all the things that we've been accepting, all the things that we've been overlooking, all the things that we've been letting slide and go by. We got to bring all of that on the chopping block. It's only right. It's only right. It doesn't matter how old the lyric is. I mean, look at the Rolling Stones, the Brown Sugar song. They recently talked about how that was mentioning the slave trade. I didn't know that. The Rolling Stone Brown Sugar song. I used to love that song because I thought it was talking about an African woman. That's how I took it. But come to find out, it was talking something about the slave trade or something in the song. I'm like, wow. Okay. So it doesn't matter, man, how long the song was made, as long as people could still listen to it. Because a lot of people still, I've been listening to that song pretty much since it's been out. Eminem 3 a.m. So people don't stop listening just because it's old. People do not stop listening to the song. And some people would justify pedophilia feelings for children, by listening to an Eminem song. Well, they'll say, well, Eminem had feelings for Hannah Montana. She obviously was not an adult, so I shouldn't feel so bad if I have these pedophilia tendencies towards these children because Eminem had it. Some of these white children will feel that way. Hey, man, listen, you can only speak for yourself. You can't speak for the psychology of America. Some people will feel like, well, Eminem had these feelings towards children, and when he masturbated towards children, what's wrong with me masturbating towards these Disney and Nickelodeon girls that I see? Hannah Montana is not, maybe it's not Hannah Montana, but now there's these other Nickelodeon girls or Disney Channel girls that I find attractive. And Eminem talk about masturbating to Hannah Montana. So just him having the thought means it's acceptable. Well, how can you get on somebody for masturbating to Disney girls, and you was talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana? If somebody came to him, or he found news of someone masturbating to these new Disney Channel girls or the Nickelodeon girls, whatever is on there, right? What could Eminem say? When he made a lyric with the song, Eminem, he made the lyric, the song on the song 3 a.m. as in time, 3 a.m. Right? In the song, like I said, he talked about masturbating to Hannah Montana. Now, okay, how can you get on someone or look down on someone to say, well, they're masturbating to all the Nickelodeon children and the Disney girl children, the Disney Channel girls? And that's the darling, that's considered the greatest rapper in America. And maybe that's the reason why y'all guys didn't hold him accountable. Maybe that's the reason. And we don't care. It could be, you can say it's entertainment all you want, but people take those thoughts seriously. And it should never be a thought of a child, you masturbating to a child. It should never be a thought of you picking someone off the Disney Channel and masturbating to, and you decide to make that a lyric. This is different. I am different from people that other Christians may talk about lyrics or shock rap or whatever. I'm saying something that's obviously true that we all can agree on. You should not be making no lyrics talking about masturbating to Hannah Montana. And then at the same time, your country is out here witch hunting about stuff that happened earlier than that. So you can't say it's a time. You can't say it was a long time ago when y'all out here with folklore and half truths and whole lies about stuff that happened earlier than that. In other words, y'all out here with pedophilia entrapment operations, what I call it, which is you trying to entrap or trap pedophiles with all type of psychological operations. You're out here doing that, but based on something you heard that was earlier than the things I'm telling you now. This is about this lyric that Eminem made. Mily Cyrus was 16 at the time. And I can prove it because she was born November 1992. Which means she was 16 because the Eminem song came out May 15th, 2009. Which means she would have turned 17 in 2009 in November. But when he put out the song May 15th, 2009, which means he probably made the song earlier than that, being the album was released May 15th, 2009, meaning he probably did the song probably at least the top of 2009, which means she was almost 15. If she was born in November, she was almost 15. She had just turned 16. That part. She had just turned 16. Her birthday is in November. Follow me now. He put out this in May. So it's safe to say an album from Eminem came out in May. He probably did the lyrics probably in January, February, even back further to the other year. Which means if she turned 16 November of before 2009, before he put out the album, she turned 16 in November. He put out the album in the next year, May of that year. That means if he made those lyrics before November of the last year, then that fantasy was made when she was 15 years old. That lyric was made thinking about masturbating to her when she was 15. But it's safe to say she definitely was 16 because she hadn't turned 17 at the end of 2009 when this was released in May 15th, 2009. So again, that's a child's anatomy he's talking about, masturbating to. I don't care if everything starts with a thought. We live in a country now where everybody's trying to find out how you think, and okay, look how he thinks. So you can be in fantasy mode about it and it not be really real, and he's in the clear. It can be called shock rap or shock music, talking about children, and it's in the clear. So what's the difference than people that have fantasies and pedophilia thoughts then? What's the difference? It's no difference. It all started with a thought about him masturbating to Hanna Montana. He had to first find her sexually attractive. And he ain't talking about masturbating to Elmo. It's not a non-entity. It's a human being. It's a girl. He's the opposite sex. He had to find her some way attractive to say he was masturbating to this girl. Look, man, everybody has to be held accountable. That's what makes us men and women. Everybody. Because you ain't going to play with me like that. You want to talk about it, we're going to talk about everybody. We're going to talk about the whole thing. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about it all. Because these are one of your darlings of your country. This is your favorite rapper, the favorite rapper among the Americans. Okay? He was talking about, and you can say, well, that's Eminem being, no. That's where you draw the line. We don't care nothing about who he is. Okay? We're talking about him talking about masturbating to children. If you heard anybody else talking about it, if it was somebody you didn't really like, you would feel it was appalling. If you heard somebody walking down the street talking about masturbating to Hanna Montana, you would think, what is wrong with this guy? Okay? You might want to fight him. Or worse. So we got to hold everybody to the same standard, man. You want to act like nobody should have pedophilia thoughts? What is this? Then why are you allowing this? Hey, and at the end of the day, I didn't make the person do this. I didn't make the person sit down and write these lyrics. You cannot act like this is just out of nowhere. You can't act like, oh, this has nothing to do with pedophilia. You can't act like that. You can't act like that. Unfortunately, you don't have the liberty or the luxury to act like this doesn't matter. For all you Eminem fans, I don't care about you getting mad. I personally do not care about you getting mad. He's another human being to me. Okay? He made a lyric that came out, was officially released May 15th, 2009. Right? May 15th, 2009, when this was released to the world, Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus was 16, which means other people probably had these desires, especially his cultic fans. Well, if Eminem thinking about it, let me go check her out. You don't realize how obsessed some people are with these superstars or how influenced they are. You're not influenced, but look how old you are though. There's some young people that are. And this is obviously Eminem was an adult when he made this album. Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana was a child when he made this. Okay, we established the definition of a pedophile is an adult that has sexual desire for children. We established in my videos you cannot size up a child sexually and call yourself non-pedophile. If you're sizing up a child, talking about, yeah, wait, later on in life, me and you gonna get together. No, you sexually sizing up a child. You're looking at them sexually now. Eminem was looking at Hannah Montana sexually then. 16 is child vagina. Bottom line. Bottom line. That's the bottom line, bruh. That's not an adult vagina. If you're 16, you cannot possess an adult vagina. You can't possess anything adult. We have to hold everybody to the same standard. Or look, all you're going to do is curse and bring destruction on your community quicker when you do not hold everyone to the same standard. It's the bottom line. Yeah, I can read between the lines. You're trying to hold other people to these standards that 16, 17, 15 is off limits. Okay, why you ain't say nothing about this lyric? I know you know it. I know you've seen it because he's too popular for you not to have known it or seen it. He's too popular for you to not know what album and song I'm talking about. It is too shocking of a lyric for half of these rap hip-hop Americans, rap fans, hip-hop heads, to not know it. All these hip-hop heads know what song I'm talking about. You absolutely know because it's too shocking. It's too shocking. Okay? And so there you have it. That's pedophilia on wax. That's pedophilia recorded by someone you love, by someone you adore in your community. Eminem, it don't get no bigger than that. Some would say he's the greatest rapper of all time. The greatest rapper of all time made a lyric about Hannah Montana masturbating specifically to Hannah Montana. Like I said, you can go listen to the lyric. It's the song by Eminem, 3 a.m., as in 3 a.m. in the morning. It's the second verse on the song. If you don't want to sit through the song, it's the second verse on the song. Okay, but if you don't hear that lyric on the second verse, well, I'm pretty sure it is, then just listen to the whole song and you will find that lyric. I just listened to it now. That's how thorough I am. I do not put out something and just say something and it's not true. I go back and listen. And that's how I found out that though it wasn't the Wide Awake song, it wasn't the Eminem Wide Awake song, it was actually the 3 a.m. song. And I thought about it. I was like, that's probably it might be that or the 3 a.m. song. And actually it was the 3 a.m. song. So it's the Eminem 3 a.m. song where he talks about masturbating to Hannah Montana, which the time of that recording when it was released, literally as an album, she was 16. Didn't hear your community talk about that, did I? Didn't hear any of these street politics talk about that, did they? Didn't hear from you, did I? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to show you. And and being that he's on top as he is, you would expect him to be a little more accountable and sensitive to that kind of lyric. It's one thing to talk about all the bodies and the dead bodies and all this other stuff and all this war stuff and all of this and that and the third about violence and everything. That's one thing. Okay? It's another thing to talk about masturbating to Hanna Montana. I mean, I'm not going to go that far to be shocking and to be like, makes people say, whoa, I'm not going to go that far. Because now you're being corny. Because you go that far to say, for somebody to say, whoa. Now you're being corny. Because you're doing it for the shock value. I'm pretty sure he probably wouldn't sexually engage with Miley Cyrus at the time, but you're doing it you're doing it for the shock value, which is corny to me. And some people will look at, okay, if you let shock value rap go into pedophilia, that means you kind of agree with it. Well, how could you get on somebody to have fantasies about children, but you made that song? It's a contradiction. It's hypocrisy. Some would say, well, hey, man, until you stop making songs about jacking off to Hanna Montana, I don't want to hear from you, bro. Until you stop jacking your meat, talk about Hanna Montana, sitting in your living room afternoon, jacking off your meat to Hanna Montana, we don't want to hear your position on purity about children. We don't want to hear it. Do you want to hear it from somebody that's talking about jacking off to Hanna Montana? That she still looks like a little girl. Miley Cyrus still looks like a girl. Ain't she about 30 now? She still look like a baby. Just imagine what she looked like then. Being that she was Hanna Montana wearing all those clothes and all that little child stuff. You look at the whole thing. She wasn't looking like no woman. She looked like a girl, a very youthful girl. She was on TVs. They put all kind of girl clothes on her and stuff. She looked totally like a girl. All like youth, childlike. And you talk about masturbating to that. Think about it, bro. Think about it now. Think about it. Nah, it ain't lying. Nah, that's a Jedi mind trick to act like it's shock value. Nah. That's a Jedi mind trick, buddy. It don't work on me. That's a 7 hour. Nah, you getting you putting out a suggestive pedophile sexual fantasy. You putting that into a lyric. Well, I don't know people who put out things they don't think about. I don't know somebody who would put out a lyric like that, but they didn't think about it a little bit. You didn't think about it sexually, but you just decide in all your purity to put out a lyric talking about jacking off to Hanna Montana, but you still pure though. Come on now, make it make sense. Make that make sense, man. That's what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you it's everywhere. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's the top of your culture right there. Eminem, 3 a.m., that song. Yep. Pretty sure Dr. Dre heard it too. Hey, Dr. Dre didn't say nothing, did he? Hey, Dr. Dre didn't say nothing about that song. Pretty sure Dr. Dre knows who Hanna Montana is. He's a cultured American. Pretty sure Dr. Dre knows who's Hanna Montana. Why Dr. Dre didn't why he didn't say nothing about that? Wasn't that his beats on that album? I'm pretty sure it was on the Relapse album. Those were Dre beats. Pretty sure it was. And yet it still got put out. I'm trying to show you, man. And that would be called guilty by association. You're affiliated. You're associated. We have to be careful with what we associate ourselves with. You can't put your cosign on stuff like that. You can't have nothing to do with stuff like that. You gotta let people stand on their own totally. And in that situation, how could he? How could he stand totally on his own with that? When so many people helped put that album together. Well, all the people that helped put the album together, they're responsible too. That's how you gotta look at it. The whole team, if you will, that put that album together is responsible for that, allowing that Hannah Montana masturbation lyric to come out. Now, don't you see him differently now? Don't you see the truth now? See, back then, like I said before in my other video, 2009 and back, people were they wasn't saying nothing about it. They were letting all this pedophilia go on. They were letting it suddenly go on. Now, all of a sudden, America wants to be pure. It doesn't work like that, because you know what's going to happen? People are going to pull your card on all the stuff that you've really been doing as adults, looking at children sexually or interacting with them sexually. It's one thing, like I said, to do things with children as a child yourself. It's another thing to do stuff as an adult with children. That's a whole different situation. So, next, the Mack Maine lyric. This Mack Maine lyric from Young Money song, Every Girl. That's the name of the song. You can look it up. Young Money, Every Girl. This song came out in 2009. I don't know what was in the water in 2009. I suspect this was the time that I would say it was a pivot, and I'm not trying to get extra deep on it. I'm just looking at how ironic it is, coincidental it is, that Eminem put out a lyric about Miley Cyrus, the same individual. And that same year, you can look it up yourself. That same year, Young Money puts out the Every Girl song in the same year, 2009. So it's safe to say, culturally speaking, people were sexually desiring children. Okay, you got two different groups. You got two different places. Young Money is in the South. Eminem is in the Midwest. So you can't say, well, it was a group of people. It was a record label kind of thing. Eminem doesn't belong to Young Money. He stands on his own in the Midwest. Young Money is down there in New Orleans, in Atlanta, in the South, in the Florida and all of that. That's where they at. Which further defends my argument. This was a cultural thing. They were in two different places and cultures. You had Midwest culture, which Eminem comes from, and Young Money is down in the South. For the most part, ain't that they center? Like, yeah. So it's safe to say it was all around America, which means to me that was the pivotal point where pedophilia increased among young people, where it increased culturally, where now people were beginning to worship youth. Well, they're looking at Hannah Montana. All them beautiful girls Eminem could be looking at. He decided to talk about masturbating to Hannah Montana with all the beautiful women he's seen. Wow. Pretty sure he's seen way more beautiful women than we have. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure about that. But yeah, he finds the time to sit down and write and record a lyric talking about jacking off to Hannah Montana. Hey, if I had seen as many beautiful women as he had, man, the last thing a person would be thinking about is children. I'm not thinking about them anyway, but you would be knee deep in vagina in that guy's shoes, adult vagina. Yeah, he takes the time when he has the potential to be knee deep in vagina, being the superstar he is. He takes the time to sit down and pen a lyric talking about jacking off to Hannah Montana, and then records it and put it out. Wasn't a B-list song. Wasn't a song that didn't make the album. It made the album, buddy. Actually, he had a video to it. On top of that, had a video to the thing. So this was you could say this was almost a single. Yeah, well, you made a video to it. That's a single, talking about jacking off to Hannah Montana. Now, Mack Maine from Young Money, Mack Maine, M-A-I-N-E, Mack, M-A-C-K, Maine, M-A-I-N-E, Mack Maine, came out with a lyric on the Young Money song, Every Girl, right? And what he says, and I corrected myself, it was not Drake. I thought it was Drake because I've always thought that lyric was because of the singing, which in that particular song, coincidentally, Drake wasn't singing, he was rapping. But we all know Drake sings and rap. So that's why I always thought, me not even knowing who Mack Maine was, I mean, never really seeing him, in hearing Drake on the song, I thought he had a rap verse, then he had a singing verse. That's what I thought. I thought he had a rap verse first, then he came back with a singing verse, which would make sense, musically speaking. But it wasn't him. So I correct that. It was not Drake that made a lyric talking about Miley Cyrus, right? It wasn't him. It was Mack Maine from Young Money. However, Drake was still on the song. Now, I know Drake was young at the time, okay? But even us being young, we could feel where, okay, that's inappropriate. You know what I mean? That's not cool. That's how a young person would say, oh, that's not cool, bro. Nah, that ain't cool. Drake was a part of the song. But it was Young Money. It was a Young Money sexual liability. That's how I look at it. Because Lil Wayne was on it. Mack Maine and Drake. You know, those were the three. And I think it was one more person. But it was Wayne, Drake, and Mack Maine on this song, Every Girl. And Mack Maine has a lyric where he says, in 3 years, come holler at me, Miley Cyrus. Now he says, in 3 years, come holler at me, Miley Cyrus. Which means to me, she probably was 15 when he made that song. Because the song came out in 2009, right? The song came out, it was leaked on the internet January 28th, 2009. So the song, safe to say, the song might have been done like a couple months, which means that would have bumped into Miley Cyrus' 15th year. She turned 16 November 2008. She turned 16 in November 2008. So if him putting that song out January 28th, 2009, if it was recorded maybe October of that year, of the prior year, then she was 15, which would make sense for him to say, holler at me in 3 years. Make sense? He was specific, which would mean that he probably wrote this song being leaked on the internet in January 28th, 2009. Her being 15 4 months before that leak, it's safe to say if she was 15 before 4 months before the leak, then he probably wrote the song 4 months before, when she was 15. Which means Mack Maine had sexual desire, bottom line, for child vagina. Listen, you can't size up a child, man. You talking about come holler at you in 3 years? What if we went outside saying that to a 15-year-old girl? Yeah, holler at me in 3 years. People look at us like we crazy. Man, that dude just told that girl to holler at him when he 3 years. That part, what would you do? Yeah, that dude told that girl to holler at him in 3 years, man. This song was published all around the world, and Young Money had just really came out, so it was a big hit. Everybody heard this song, man. Everybody heard the song, and everybody also knows this lyric, because Young Money was a big deal back then in 2009, specifically in 2009. I remember. That's how I remember this lyric. I didn't recently listen to it. I remembered it. I remembered when this song came out and how big of a hit. And I remember hearing her name in it, and I knew she was a girl. I knew for a fact. I didn't watch no Miley Cyrus because she was in what, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel or something? Hannah Montana? Okay. I had no interest in that. And I was younger. Well, I probably was a little younger than them, or around the same age. I'm about around the same age as Mack Maine for sure. And I didn't find I do not find no desire in no girls. But yet this guy put out this song. They shot the video for it. When they shot in February of 2009, a day before Valentine's Day. They shot the video, and the song was leaked on the internet January 28, 2009. So Drake was on the song, and that is considered a type of consent of the lyrics. That's how I look at it. But I feel like Young Money as a brand is liable for that. Because everybody knew she was not obviously 18 when he say holler at her at 3 years, right? See, people sell their values to make shocking songs and lyrics. This is what we can get from both of these. You know, Young Money was up on the rise, and this shocking lyric, you know, got people's attention. See, that's kind of selling that's like a way of selling your soul, because you're selling your value system for fame. You're selling your convictions, your integrity to rise to the top. And see, the sad thing about it, these guys probably wouldn't do nothing like that, where the person is underage. But the problem is, you know, you put this message out to people that will do it. A lot of these people that you would consider nobodies, they're trying to fill their voids in all type of ways. They're trying to do what you do. They're trying to be like you because they feel like they're no one. You listen, you strong-minded, but they're not. That's how you got to look at it. This isn't another typical me getting on the artist. This is pedophilia. Bottom line, bro. I don't make those kind of messages where I could have been getting on all these people that's doing all these lyrics. I could have been doing that. The only situation I'm talking about is when they talked about a girl that everybody knew that was obviously underage, and America did nothing about it. America said nothing about it. So to me, Young Money totally as a brand is sexually liable for that, because that's sexually sizing up a child. Do you want somebody sizing up your child? Talking about 3 years, holler at me? What if you hear a grown man say something like that to your child? That's real. That's real. Think about somebody saying that to your child, man. You going to war. Like, bro, hold up, bro. Click, clack, yo, bro. Man, listen. You want to get bugged down now? How about now? You talking about 3 years? You want to get bugged down now, bruh?
That's what a real man would do. You say something to his child, he's 15. She's 15. She's 15, right? She's 15. Think about some kid say, some man, no full grown man. You see how Mack Maine looks? He doesn't look like a boy. Never did. Imagine him walking by your kid talking about, yeah, holler at me in 3 years. Man, you pulling it out right then. You pulling out your gun right then. Bro, hold up, bro. What you just say, man? Oh, I said, she respectfully, when she's at a certain age, boom, getting pistol whipped with the gun. Bro, don't you ever speak to my daughter like that. No right age, ain't no right age. You don't talk to her about no sexual advances when she's underage at all. That's what most men are going to tell you. Don't you make no sexual advances whatsoever towards my child when she's not 18. Period. Oh, you cool with that? What does that say about you, man? For real. What does that say about you? You would not let nobody come up on your daughter talking about, oh yeah, in 3 years, holler at me. Yeah, that's how you know. You got to put yourself in the shoes. You got to have compassion. And all I'm saying is the emphasis ain't Miley Cyrus. I'm not a Miley Cyrus fan. The emphasis is these men are sexualizing and making sexual advances at children. They having sexual desire for children. Think about when Miley Cyrus, let's think about this. Think about when Miley Cyrus actually heard these lyrics. Pretty sure she heard the Eminem lyric. Pretty sure her friends and everybody was telling her about she's on the Eminem album. Oh, come on. You don't think nobody in the music industry, nobody in the entertainment industry, nobody in her own circle told her that her name is on the Eminem album? Come on, man. It's a no-brainer. And she finds out underage. She's listening to a lyric where a man is talking about masturbating to her and she still got a child's vagina. This is the reality, guys. So you think she listened to that lyric when she was 18? She turned 17 the year that it came out, right? At the end of the year, the song that Eminem put out, May 15th, 2009, she was 16 at the time. So the album came out when she was 16. You think she waited to 18 to hear this? So that means she was hearing sexual desire for her from a grown man when she was a kid. Would you want somebody to hear a sexual desire for your child if she ain't 18 and they fully grown? Would you want Mack Maine from Young Money talking about holler at your child in 3 years? You would think he's thought about her sexually already. Wouldn't you? That's what I'm saying. See, that's what I'm saying to you. You see the double standard you got going on? That's all I'm trying to show you. Don't be out here playing any games with anybody when I can show you. Listen, we can do this all day. I can show you more and more and more. But I just chose to show you something that came from my world, that I was exposed to. I was exposed to, Eminem and Young Money. I listened to both of those sides, So that's something that stuck out in my mind just off the top of my head. I wasn't masterminding some attack against Eminem or masterminding some attack against Young Money or Mack Maine or Drake. I'm just being honest. But it's a trip. It's a trip how America loses, man. They lose because there's no way you can justify that. Drake should have separated himself from that, especially just coming out. They didn't think about it though. Lil Wayne should have had nothing to do with it. He didn't write it. He didn't say it, but he shouldn't have put that out. And see, I've personally talked to Lil Wayne. For people that don't know my personal history, I don't go around telling everybody this, but I talked to Lil Wayne on Facebook right before he had that problem with him and Birdman when as far as putting out the Carter 3 or the Carter 4. Right before that, that's when I talked to him, and me and him was talking, ironically, about women, what kind of women we like. And he said he liked Asian. I talked about Asian women. We talked about Asian women. He talked about that. So, and I made him laugh, and because this other guy, ironically, was acting like a stan, just trying to get his attention. And I said, stop acting like a stan. And Lil Wayne responded to what I said and said, that man said you a stan. So I've actually, interacted with Wayne online. He's the only rapper, New Orleans rappers. Silk the Shocker, I've talked to him. I've talked to MC Light. I told her I quit smoking and she was happy for me. I've talked to Havoc from Mobb Deep. He wanted me to come up to New York and rap. So it's not like I'm some anti, hip hop person when I'm talking to MC Light, for crying out loud. That's credible. MC Light above all of them is credible. Then Havoc from, Mobb Deep, that's hip hop credible. He heard my music, he liked it. He gave me his number and everything. This was back in 2012, around all those guys who I told you I talked to. That's when Facebook and there was no real strong fake pages. There wasn't a whole bunch of fake pages. The artists wanted to network with the people and interact with the fans. So that's how you truly can believe me and know it wasn't no fake page. I got the tweets. I still have the tweets. As far as Havoc from Mobb Deep, and he's from Queens. He heard my music, he liked it. I tell people all the time, I've already gotten my respect as far as my music. So I'm not playing the mad rapper, you know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with everything in my life because I'm a man of God and I don't want to go that route. But the fact that Havoc from Mobb Deep heard my music and liked it, gave me his number and everything, and to come up to New York and to do music, that I won. I don't even have to do music. I won. I got the acceptance of Havoc from Mobb Deep, lyrically speaking. When half of these rappers out there right now in New York and all across the country, they're never going to get that credibility. They're never going to get the ears of Havoc from Mobb Deep. So I won. And here I was trying to pursue a record deal with Bone Thugs and Harmony with Crazy Bone in the life, when I'm getting respect for somebody greater than him, which is Havoc from Mobb Deep. As far as hip hop goes, as far as hip hop, real hip hop, people would say Havoc from Mobb Deep is more of a definite mouse, a brick in the wall as far as hip hop. More of a brick in the wall than Crazy Bone. More of a brick in the wall than Bone Thugs. Havoc from Mobb Deep. Who you will agree? Havoc from Mobb Deep, or Bone Thugs? Which one is more hip hop per se? Straight up hip hop, all the elements, where they from and everything, right? You would have to go with Havoc. Even if you feel that you like Bone Thugs and Harmony more, when you talk about hip hop, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to give it to them. They dedicated, Havoc and Mobb Deep dedicated their music more to the true essences and more essence of what people consider real MC hip hop. That's what I'm trying to say. But he the one that seen me and was like, and I'm here the same year I was trying to pursue, at the top of the year, I was trying to pursue a deal with with Crazy Bone, because he had started this fast track program and stuff went crazy with that, you know. But at the end, about the summer of that same year, Havoc from Mobb Deep. See, that was the confirmation I needed. You feel me? Havoc from Mobb Deep. After that went wrong or whatever, you know, Crazy Bone and them refunded my money. But Havoc at the end of the year was hitting me up on his own, sending me his number and everything. Like, that's a real dude. Same thing with Wayne. I ain't got nothing to say about Wayne. Wayne is a real dude. Cause he just chopped it up with me. And we talked about females and he laughed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He's a real dude. Same thing with MC Light. She's real. Silk the Shocker from No Limit. Master P brother. You know, he's real. You know what I'm saying? So I've talked to people. I've gained the attention. I've had some of their time before. If it's just a split second, a couple minutes, I've had a couple minutes of a lot of people that you respect. You know what I mean? But I you know, I have to keep it 100 with the lyric though. Like these lyrics, like, because it's not a touchy subject, it's a violating subject. That's a better thing to say. It's a violating subject, and we can't compromise that. We can't sit up and talk about, oh well, you know, let's go after this guy, and then you have, you know, Eminem putting out lyrics, and you have Mack Maine from Young Money putting out lyrics talking about, you know, Hanna, the same girl in the same year. How ironic is that? They could have put the album, one song could have came out 2-3 years. Those songs could have came out 3 years apart. It's so ironic to me that they was talking about the same girl, underage girl. Like, so I guess America was going crazy over this girl. I mean, I guess so. The song came out in the same year, 2009, right? Yeah. So it's like, and she definitely was underage. That's what I'm saying, man. So like, we can't halfway be playing games with somebody and then you expect not somebody to come in your lane and inspect your lane. That's like, nah, that doesn't, it starts an all-out war. These gang stalkers and your American government and the secret societies, they started an all-out war concerning purity because they sent out all these lies and all these games, and it started a whole all-out war. Because there's innocent people that need to see, hey, look at this. They're already deviant. They know you ain't doing nothing with no children. They just trying to assassinate your character. Like, but for you innocent people that are kind of slow, you need to see that, hey, this has been going on all along. You got 44 states with child marriage. You got the age of consent under 18 in 40 states. You just passed your last child marriage law 3 years ago. You need to see that because you're the innocent but slow person. Put it just like that. You're innocent but slow. So I got to show you particularly, because you're the ones like, well, we don't know. Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to make you know. I'm going to show you so you know. You got 44 states with child marriage. You got the age under consent under 18 in 40 states. Those are two different laws. That's not the same law. You got the age. You got the world record for the lowest age of consent in the state of Delaware in 1880, where the age of consent was 7 years old. You have the world record. If it was a Guinness Book of World Record for the lowest age of consent, America would have it at the age of 7 in the state of Delaware in 1880. That's what I'm saying. Which gives you, as Americans, no room to play over no games. Your card is getting pulled, big baby. How you got all that liability, sexually speaking, but you trying to pull cards, bro? It's unheard of, man. Come on, man. Stop playing. That's a joke, man. And then I'm showing you now in your culture. I'm showing you now in your culture how it is. I'm showing you now in your culture how it is. Yeah, and if you don't believe me as far as Havoc from Mobb Deep hitting me up, You can go check my Facebook, Red Dragon, REDD. Dragon is GDRAGIN, not GONGIN. So it's Red REDD, Dragon DRAGIN. You can scroll. It may take your time, but you can find that I posted all of that from Silk the Shocker, from MC Light. See, now these times, you know, it's a lot of fan pages and fake pages, but this a lot of people that was networking know what I'm saying. A lot of artists understand this. Back in 2012 and lower, when you had MySpace and all of that, you could the stars were approachable because it was new to them too. So they were having fun with it. They were glad to engage the fans, and then it got crazy. Then you got trolls, and so now it's out of control. But when it first started, though, these platforms, these social media platforms first started, like the stars were excited about interacting with the fans on these social platforms. So that's how I actually got to interact with them, you know, and they had the time, they took time to even look at stuff that came from other people. Most people don't do that no more. You got to go through somebody else to get to a star these days. But yeah, so yeah, we just got to be 100, man. We can't be out here, you know, playing games, you know, and letting people tear up the community, because that's all these secret societies are doing. You know, they tearing up your community. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely going to go Godzilla on this. You know what I'm saying? I am. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like, look, it's no mercy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we all have to be on the same level of accountability. You know what I'm saying? People out here trying to hold people accountable for thoughts. Okay, let's go to thoughts of lyrics. Let's go through the lyrics, which were thoughts. When you got Eminem talk about masturbating to Hanna Montana. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's different than talking about chopping people up. You know the difference between violence and pedophilia? It's a big difference, buddy. It's a whole different ballgame. Something that most people won't even engage in. Now, violence, many people will engage in violence at some point, place, and time in their life. But we're not talking about violence. We're talking about interacting with children sexually. Having lyrics talking about interacting with children sexually, or sizing them up sexually. In the case of Mack Maine, he's sizing Miley Cyrus up before she even is a woman. Sexually sizing up. This is the term I use. Sexually sizing up. That's what you're doing. Just like you size somebody up in a fight. You size them up. You see, you know, you estimate what you think they could do or whatever. It's the same thing, except you sexually sizing them up. You seeing what they got, and what you can do with it. You already doing that, which means you're showing sexual desire for children presently at the time, even though you might justify and say, "Well, I was talking about." I obviously said in a later time she was an adult, but you were sexually looking at her that way then. You wouldn't have ever had the desire if you had not looked at her in an attractive way, like she was sexually attractive. You wouldn't have even told her that in the first place if you hadn't seen her in a sexual way. Well, I don't know nobody who don't look at somebody sexually but say, holler at me 3 years. You know anybody that do that? We're not looking at her that way, but we want her to holler at us in 3 years. We're not looking at her sexually, but we want her to holler at me. I want her to holler at me in 3 years, but I ain't looking at her that way. Come on, bro. Make it make sense, bro. That's cold, man. That's cold. Just take responsibility for it. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And moreover, let your community, your American lame community fall back, man, playing games, bro. I'm pulling cards, man. You better let them know, man. They ain't gonna have nothing here left. But I just happened to think about that, though. Like I said, I wasn't masterminding anything against Eminem, or, you know, I used to like to listen to him. I used to like to listen to Young Money, and It just so happened that they had those lyrics, and obviously I heard it, so obviously I was listening to them. So that's all that was about. You know what I'm saying? But it shows us though how it was, how this country really was. Now you can't tell nothing because everybody's on guard. Everybody ain't really being who they really are because they know it's a war going on. So now you ain't gonna hear nothing like that now. Nah, not now, because the war is going on. So let's look before the war. Let's see what people really was like before this happened, right? And now you get the real answers. You get the real answers. Look at the law passed July 1st, 2019, 10 years after that those lyrics came out. See, this ball's been rolling from all different sides. Young Money put that lyric out in 2009. Eminem put that lyric out in 2009. 10 years later, July 1st, 2019, the American government passed a law that allows adults to marry children at no minimum age, meaning any age, which is pedophilia because it's any age. Whatever age you consider to be pedophilia is covered with no minimum age, meaning any age. It's covered with that. It's covered. So you can't make no excuse for the last child marriage law passed. You can't make no excuse for it. It's no excuse for it. The new evil is they said no any age. It's no excuse you can make for it. So now you have to fall back because now your country is marrying children at any age. You gotta fall back, man. If you live in the real reality. And if you don't, then guess what? God can make you do that. Okay, if you don't want to, God can make you do it. He's not gonna play any games with you when you out here with July 1st, 2019 laws that marry children at any age. He ain't gonna play with you, buddy. You ain't gonna last long. And that's why you got all these viruses and all this stuff going on, man. Because God is not gonna play with you, bruh. You got a law passed in 2019 that allows adults to marry children at any age, bruh. God ain't playing with you. You can't do nothing. Don't you understand that? You gotta have several seats. That's what you gotta do. Yeah, you gotta have several seats. We made you have several seats. Yeah. You don't see that? You don't see we made you have several seats when you got 44 states with child marriage on top of that. You got 44 states with child marriage. And you still standing up, bro. Man, let me get a seat for you, man. Here's a seat for you. See the seat? Let me get you a seat. Here's a seat right here. That's a seat for you. Sit your tail down. And if you don't, you die. Because listen. You don't care, you die quicker. You die a careless person that doesn't care. Which is a form of suicide to me. You don't care if you die? Okay. You don't care anymore? Okay. We'll handle that quicker. That's how that go. Listen, man, ain't nobody playing no okie-doke clown games. I gave you facts and information about your own people. Why you're playing a game anyway. See, you played a game. I got serious and showed you who really doing it. That's a 7-hour. Yeah, you playing a game, knowing I'm innocent. I'm showing you who really doing it, though. Boom. You got 44 states with child marriage, buddy. That ain't no game that you playing like you playing. Boom. Yeah, now you got to go back to that world. Ow, that's a 7. Oh, whoa.